I can't remember that when I was young there was so much fear around. As a 9-year-old child, my mother would let me run to the corner shop in London, and she'd put a £1 note in my hand and give me a list of things to get, and I'd run, and the shopkeeper would give me a big smile and give me whatever it is was on that list, and then he'd make sure I was holding the change very tightly in my hand so that it didn't drop out, and I'd run back again. I cannot imagine a mother being able to say to a 9-year-old girl anymore, or a boy, doesn't matter, run down to the corner shop and get this for me. That little illustration just gives me an indication of how society has changed. And there is so much fear constantly, continually, in every situation in life. For example, I know that in London again, when I was growing up, I didn't feel that there was any racial barriers. And then there came a moment when there was a massive influx of people of colour from Africa. They were coming in because of a political situation in that country, and so it was Asians who came to London, a big number, and people became very afraid. They were afraid of the immigrants, and the immigrants were afraid of them, and it was a general situation that came up. And so there's a lot of fear on both sides, people who perpetrate violence, but also people who are the victims of violence. And that's not a healthy society. If your actions are going to be fear-based, what happened to love? What happened to being able to see my neighbour and loving my neighbour? And so I see that you can't legislate for these things. Most countries do have some sort of anti-discrimination laws in place, but to what extent can you change people's hearts and minds through laws? I don't think you can. But when people begin to understand something, then there's a shift. And I know for myself, having been in situations where there was racial discrimination, I was lucky. I was already on a spiritual path when I was faced with this. And so once I had to face this, I had to ask myself the question,